So the gastrointestinal tract is one continuous system. It starts in the mouth and goes all the way down through your body to the rectum. And food and fluids enter through your mouth, obviously, and then they're chopped up by your teeth, and then they get sent down to your stomach. And your stomach is like a big cooking pot with some water in it. And your spleen provides the fuel under the pot. It's literally in the body, located under the stomach. And then you have the liver and gallbladder, which add bile that helps break down the fats. And in the cooking pot, your stomach, you have foods and liquids, and they're turned into a soup. And then this soup is distilled into the pure and impure. So both the stomach and the spleen help sort it, the pure from the impure. So then the pure rises up to the heart and the lungs, where it's circulated around the body by respiration. The impure is drained into the intestines, where some further extraction of nutrients takes place, and then the remaining matter is excreted by the large intestines. The main food nutrients are transformed into blood, and the blood is then stored in the heart and the liver. Now, if there's any kind of breakdown in the system at all, then damp and phlegm will be produced. So if the food's not chopped up properly because of insufficient chewing, then the food will be too big for the pot. And if there's not enough or too much water, that would be like stomach dryness or dampness in the pot, then the food will either be too wet or will burn. If the cooking heat is too low, which is a spleen deficiency, right, because the spleen's the fuel for the pot, then the food will not cook properly. So if no or too many, let's say, spices from the liver and gallbladder are used, then you either have liver stagnation or you have gallbladder damp heat. And then the metal will either be too hard to digest or will cause will be too hard to digest or will cause indigestion. If the ingredients are not well balanced, meaning the food that you're putting into your stomach, the meal will lack an appetizing aroma and nourishment. And qi, which is your life force energy, will not be available to the lungs or blood to the heart. So then you're going to get sticky deposits that build up in your body because it's not functioning well. And in the middle and lower parts of the body, such as the spleen, stomach, bladder, and intestines, these are referred to as dampness. And in the upper body, such as the lungs, the deposits are phlegm. And so here are some of the problems you might experience. So if the spleen and or the stomach have a deficiency, then you are going to experience low energy, loose bowels or diarrhea, poor concentration, like, on inability to focus, irregular appetite, cravings for sweets, just a heavy sensation or muscle weakness in the body, bloating and tiredness after eating, nausea, weight gain, fluid retention, and mild indigestion. If the heat on the stomach pot is too high and you have stomach heat, then you might experience a ravenous appetite, but a failure to put on weight, burning indigestion, hyperactivity, constipation, high thirst, and craving for spicy food and stimulants. And those typically just worsen your symptoms. If your spleen is too damp, meaning there's too much water in the pot, then you're going to be fuzzy-headed and have dull headaches, cloudy thought processes, weight gain, aching muscles and limbs, nasal congestion, which you might think is allergies, frequent nausea, and diarrhea with mucus, poor appetite, just a sense of feeling lethargic, weak, have abdominal fullness and occasional dizziness. And if there's disharmony in your liver and your spleen, then you're going to experience alternating constipation and diarrhea, attacks of abdominal pain and vomiting. And when you're under stress, it makes it worse. And then bloating and just distension of your stomach and abdomen area, emotional changes, like feeling very emotional, indigestion and fluctuations in your appetite. So you can see, if you look at digestion from the very beginning to the very end, you can see how it's a long process. And let's say you're eating raw food. Well, if you're throwing raw food into this pot to be cooked, it's going to take a lot more energy to heat up the pot to break that food down. So you're going to have a lot more spleen energy, so it could be very depleting. Now, if you're throwing in cold food, like, a smoothie or a smoothie bowl, something with frozen ice cream, ice cold drinks, if you're throwing these icy cold things into this pot then needs to really crank up and warm things up. And then, it has to go above your body temperature to break things down. So imagine how much energy that takes to heat that pot up, to not only warm up these frozen ice cold things, but then break them down. So this whole idea of healthy foods being smoothies, salads, raw fruits and vegetables, these kinds of things, is actually causing major imbalances in your digestive system. Now, should you never have these things? No, of course not. But in moderation, maybe you have a salad as a side with a cooked meal. Maybe you have something hot along with something cold, so it kind of helps balance it out. Everything's about balance, as you're going to see. And in America, especially, we have all these fads that we follow, and we don't really check in with our own bodies. And there's just not a one-size-fits-all way to eat. Everybody's body is different. We're all individual. And even our own body's needs change from day to day. Maybe we need a lot more protein one day and a lot more carbohydrates the next day, And if you think about foods that are room temperature or cooked, it makes it so much easier on your digestive system to break that down and extract the nutrients. There's this belief that by cooking the food, you lose all the enzymes and nutrition. But it's just not true. Your body can extract a lot of nutrition from cooked foods, more so than raw foods, because of the process that it takes your body to digest those. And typically, the cold or raw foods is causing such an imbalance in the body that it's rushed through the digestive process and just shot out of the body, basically. Can't even extract the nutrients, So just consider what you're eating and how it makes you feel. Do you feel more energy after you eat it? Do you feel heavy and lethargic? Do you have muscle weakness? Do you have diarrhea or loose stools? These are all things to consider, because digestion doesn't just affect your stomach or your intestines. What you eat literally is the building blocks of your body. So the nutrients that are absorbed from the foods that you eat is what helps build the blood and nourish all the tissues and bones and everything in your body. So if you're living on, Slim Fast and Doritos and microwave dinners, your body is probably not going to be able to build good cells with that. But if you're eating more pure foods, or simple things like an apple or, some soup, it's going to be so much more nourishing and much better building blocks for your cells, muscles, tissues, bones. So I don't come to you today with any kind of product or sales scheme, but more of an awareness for you. Just be aware of how you feel when you eat, how you eat. Are you distracted when you eat? Do you eat really quickly? Do you not chew your food very well? If so, you probably have digestive issues. And you probably have headaches, brain fog, loose stools, or diarrhea. If you thoroughly chew your meals, you eat them slowly, you primarily eat cooked foods or room temperature foods and beverages, then you most likely have much better digestion, less bloating, better ability to concentrate, and so forth. So, if you have questions, reach out to me. I'm happy to give you more information or give you some resources that you can check out yourself. Or if you just want to tackle it right now, you can always look for an acupuncturist who specializes in 5-element theory, or just a traditional Chinese medicine doctor. There are herbal supplements that can help with balance, but the main thing for you to be aware of is what you're eating and how you're eating it. Be well, everyone.